Sometimes the happiest days become the last, and joy turns into a nightmare in a matter of seconds. Zara Kamani stood in front of the mirror in her small bedroom, trying on her wedding dress for the last time before tomorrow's ceremony. The snow-white silk gently hugged her slender figure, and the lace sleeves added elegance to the look. Tomorrow, on May 23rd, she would become the wife of Tyrone Bennett, the man she loved with all her heart. She had turned 30 2 months ago, and now she felt that her life was finally taking on meaning and direction. Her accessories were neatly laid out on the bed: pearl earrings given to her by her mother Gloria, a thin chain with a cross, and a bouquet of artificial white roses that she had chosen herself. Zara had been working as a cashier in a supermarket for 8 years. Her salary was modest, but she and Tyrone had been saving up for a year for their wedding. Every detail had been carefully planned, every dollar spent wisely. The phone on the bedside table rang sharply and unexpectedly. Zara glanced at the screen, an unknown number. She picked up the phone, expecting to hear the voice of one of the suppliers for tomorrow's celebration. "Hello?" she said, adjusting the fold in her dress. "There won't be any wedding tomorrow, Zara. I won't let you marry that jerk." The voice was painfully familiar. Damien Rowell, her ex-boyfriend, whom she had broken up with a year and a half ago. A 35-year-old warehouse worker who couldn't get over their breakup. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. "Damien, why are you calling? We agreed we wouldn't talk anymore. I have a new life, and I'm getting married tomorrow. Please don't ruin my day." "A new life? After what you did to me? You think you can just walk away and forget about everything? You infected me with HIV, Zara. Because of you, I'll never be truly happy again." Damien was speaking in a raised voice, his voice trembling with anger. Zara sat down on the edge of the bed, feeling her heart begin to beat faster. "What? Damien, are you crazy? I didn't infect anyone. I don't have HIV. We just broke up, it happens. People meet, they break up, it's normal. Tyrone is a good man, he loves me, and I love him. Why can't you just let go of the past and move on?" "Don't lie to me. You're a slut. You slept with anyone while you were dating me, and then you infected me with this disease. Every morning I wake up and remember it. Every test, every trip to the doctor, everything reminds me of you and what you left me with." Zara frowned, feeling indignant at the false accusations. She had never cheated on Damien, and she had no diseases. The regular medical examinations required for her job at the supermarket always showed that she was healthy. "Damien, you're telling a monstrous lie. I never cheated on you. I was faithful to you throughout our entire relationship, and I don't have HIV and never have. I get tested regularly at work. Everything is fine. If you have health problems, look for the cause elsewhere. We haven't been together for a long time, and I want you to leave me alone. Tomorrow is the most important day of my life." "You're lying. You're a whore, Zara. Do you think I didn't know you were seeing other people while we were together? And now you're playing the innocent little lamb. You infected me, and now you're going to infect that stupid cook. The most important day? It will be his last if I don't do something about it. You're not getting married tomorrow, Zara. I won't let that happen." The line went dead. Zara stared at the phone for a long time, trying to make sense of the conversation. Damien had always been emotional, but now there was an unhealthy obsession in his voice. She tried to call back, but the number was unavailable. Half an hour later, the phone rang again. The same unknown number. "Damien, stop it. I don't want to talk to you." "I don't care what you want. You've been doing only what you wanted for too long. You thought about yourself when you were with me. You thought about yourself when you left me. And now you're thinking only about yourself, planning this stupid wedding. What do you want from me? What are you trying to achieve with these calls?" "Justice. I want you to feel what I feel. Pain, hopelessness, the knowledge that your life is ruined forever. You deserve it after everything you've done." Zara felt real fear. Damien's voice wasn't just angry. It was something darker and more dangerous. "Damien, if you don't stop stalking me, I'll go to the police. I have a recording of this conversation, and I can prove that you're threatening me." "The police? Do you think that scares me? They can't be with you 24 hours a day. Sooner or later, you'll be alone, and then we'll have a real talk. The connection was cut off again. With trembling hands, Zara dialed the number of her best friend, Kira Osborne. Kira, can you come over? I need help. Damien is calling and threatening to ruin the wedding. I don't know what to do. Kira Osborne, a 28-year-old saleswoman at a clothing store, had been Zara's friend since school. She knew the whole story of her relationship with Damien and had never liked him. I'm on my way. Don't answer any calls from unknown numbers. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Zara tried to calm down, but her hands continued to shake. She took off her wedding dress and hung it in the closet, trying not to think about Damien's threats. Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. She wouldn't let anyone ruin it. Kira arrived sooner than she had promised. The tall, slender girl with short, curly hair burst into Zara's apartment with a determined look on her face. Tell me everything from the beginning. What exactly did he say? Do we have reason to be seriously concerned? Zara recounted both phone conversations, trying to remember every word Damien had said. Kira listened attentively, frowning at times. This isn't just jealousy from an ex-boyfriend. He mentioned some kind of illness, that you had passed something on to him. Do you have any idea what he's talking about? I have no idea. I get regular checkups, and I'm in perfect health. Maybe he's sick himself and decided to blame me? Or does he have mental health issues? Kira shook her head thoughtfully. You know, I never trusted Damien. Even when you were dating, there was something unhealthy about him. Remember how he followed you, checked your phone, always suspected you of cheating? I remember. That's why I broke up with him. But he wasn't that aggressive back then. He was angry, of course, but he didn't threaten me. A year and a half is a long time. A lot can happen to a person during that time, especially if they are mentally unstable. I think we need to warn Tyrone and your mom. They should know about the situation. Zara nodded and dialed her fiancé's number. Tyrone Bennett worked as a chef in a restaurant until late at night, but he usually answered his phone even during his shift. Hello, beautiful. How are the final preparations going? Tomorrow at this time, we'll be husband and wife. There was genuine joy in Tyrone's voice, and Zara felt a pang of guilt at having to dampen his mood. Tyrone, we have a problem. Damien called today and threatened to ruin the wedding. He said he won't let us get married. I'm afraid he might try to do something. Tyrone paused for a few seconds, digesting the information. That lunatic still can't accept that you chose me? Okay, I'll talk to him. I know where he works. I'll explain in plain language that it's time to leave us alone. No, don't meet with him. He was very aggressive. I'm afraid there might be a fight. We'd better go to the police. Zara, I won't let anyone ruin our day. Tomorrow we'll get married as planned. That loser has no right to interfere in our lives. After talking to Tyrone, Zara felt a little calmer. Her fiancé was a reliable and strong man who would never let anyone hurt her. The rest of the evening passed relatively calmly. Zara and Kira checked the final details for tomorrow's celebration. Pick up the cake from the baker, prepare the decorations for the hall, make sure the photographer had all the contact details. Damien didn't call again, and the girls began to hope that the threats were empty. The next morning, Zara woke up early, despite the excitement of the previous day. The wedding was to take place at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in a small church on the outskirts of town. The weather promised to be beautiful, sunny and warm, perfect for a May wedding. Around 11 in the morning, Zara went to the beauty salon to get ready for the ceremony. Kira went with her, taking on the role of maid of honor and assistant in all organizational matters. The road to the salon passed through several picturesque areas of the city. Zara drove her old but reliable car carefully, enjoying the morning sun and the anticipation of the upcoming event. She turned on the radio, and a melodious love song began to play in the car. You know, I thought about it all night, Kira said, looking out the window. Maybe he found out about his diagnosis and decided that you were somehow connected to it? But that's absurd. We broke up a year and a half ago. If they found something recently, how could it be related to me? I don't know. but people in despair are capable of strange things. Maybe he needs someone to blame for his problems. Zara nodded, pondering her friend's words. Damien had always looked for someone to blame for his failures. When he was fired from his previous job for absenteeism, he blamed his boss. When he had money problems, he blamed the economy. Maybe now he had decided to blame her for his health problems. They were driving along a narrow road between the hills when Zara noticed a familiar truck in the rearview mirror. It was a dark blue pickup truck driven by a man wearing a baseball cap. The car kept a short distance behind them, following their every turn. "Kira, look behind us. That truck has been following us for about 10 minutes. Kira turned around and looked closely at the pursuer. "I can't see the driver's face, but the car is really suspicious. Maybe we should turn off somewhere and see if he follows us." Zara saw a right turn ahead, leading to a small shopping center. She turned on her turn signal and began to turn. The truck followed them. "It's Damien," Zara whispered, recognizing her ex-boyfriend's car. "He's following us." Kira took out her phone, ready to call the police, but at that moment, the truck suddenly accelerated. Zara saw in the mirror how the massive vehicle was approaching them at high speed. "He's going to crash into us!" she shouted, turning the steering wheel sharply to the right. The impact hit the rear of the car. Zara's car was thrown onto the shoulder, where it came to a crashing halt against the roadside barrier. The windows didn't break, the airbags didn't deploy, but both girls were thrown forward violently. Damien didn't stop. His truck sped past and disappeared around the bend, leaving behind only a cloud of dust and the smell of burnt rubber. Zara and Kira sat in stunned silence for a while, recovering from the shock. Finally, Kira found the strength to speak. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" Zara carefully moved her arms and legs. Apart from feeling slightly dizzy and having a rapid heartbeat, she felt physically fine. "I think I'm okay. How about you?" "I'm fine too, but the car. Look at the bumper." Zara got out of the car and inspected the damage. The rear bumper was badly dented, the left fender was deformed, but the car was still drivable. "That lunatic could have killed us," Kira exclaimed, trembling with anger and fear. "Now we definitely need to call the police." Zara nodded, but deep down she knew that the police would hardly be able to do anything. Damien had disappeared, there were no witnesses to the incident, and it would be difficult to prove that it was a deliberate attack. But the wedding had to go ahead, no matter what. Zara woke up at 6:30 in the morning to the sound of loud knocking on the door. At first, she thought it was the wedding cake delivery arriving early, but the knocking continued, sharp, insistent, clearly unfriendly. She pulled on her robe and cautiously approached the window overlooking the courtyard. A familiar dark blue pickup truck was parked in front of the house. Damien was pacing the path leading to the porch, waving his arms and muttering something under his breath. He was dressed in old jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt, his hair tousled as if he hadn't slept all night. There was another knock on the door, this time even louder. "Zara, I know you're home. Come out, we need to talk. I'm not leaving until we settle this once and for all." Damien's voice was hoarse, tinged with despair and uncontrollable anger. Zara took out her phone and dialed her mother's number, who lived in the house next door. "Mom, Damien is at my door. He's shouting and demanding to talk. I'm afraid to go out." Gloria Kamani, a 55-year-old woman with a strong personality, had been working as a cleaner in an office building for 20 years. She was used to getting up early and was usually up by 7 in the morning. "Stay home and don't let anyone in. I'll be right there and deal with that jerk. To do something like this on your wedding day." A few minutes later, Zara saw her mother coming out of the neighboring house. Gloria was holding a thick baseball bat in her hands, and she looked like she was ready to use it. Despite her small stature, Zara's mother looked imposing, with her shoulders straight and her gait determined. "Damien Rowell, what the hell are you doing here so early in the morning? Get out of here immediately before I call the police." Damien turned around, saw Gloria with the bat, and was momentarily taken aback. But then his face contorted into a grimace of anger. Mrs. Kamani, this is none of your business. I need to talk to your daughter. She ruined my life, and I won't let her get away with it. She infected me with HIV, do you understand? Your beautiful daughter is a sick whore who slept with anyone. Gloria stopped 2 meters away from him, gripping the bat tighter. Stop talking nonsense. My daughter has regular medical checkups. She's in perfect health, and she never cheated on anyone, especially a loser like you. Loser? I work honestly. I earn my living. And your daughter was sleeping around while she was dating me. Now I'm sick for life because of her. And she's not getting married today. I won't let her infect another person. Damien started to approach the porch, but Gloria blocked his way. One more step and I'll smash your head with this bat. My daughter is getting married today, and no lunatic is going to stop that. Get out of here before I call the police. Call them. I don't care. I've already lost everything because of your contagious daughter. Now I have no future, no hope for a family, for children. It's all over, and let her feel the same way. Damien swung his arm as if he was going to hit Gloria, but she was quicker. The bat whistled through the air and struck Damien's left shoulder with a dull thud. He cried out in pain and stepped back. You crazy woman! You hit me! I'm going to sue you! Go ahead, and I'll sue you for threats and hooliganism. Get out of here immediately! Damien rubbed his bruised shoulder, uncontrollable rage flashing in his eyes. But he knew that in an open confrontation with an armed woman, he had little chance of winning. Fine, I'm leaving. But this isn't over. The wedding won't happen. I'll do everything I can to make sure your daughter doesn't get married today. He headed for his pickup truck, but stopped halfway and turned around. And tell her she'll pay for what she did to me, every day, for the rest of her life. Damien got into his car and drove away with a screech of tires, leaving a cloud of exhaust behind him. Gloria watched him go, still holding the bat. Zara watched from the window the whole time, trembling with fear and indignation. When Damien left, she ran out of the house and hugged her mother. Mom, thank you. You were incredibly brave. He could have hurt you. That pathetic coward? He's only capable of threats and sneak attacks. In open combat, he immediately backed down. But we have to be careful, daughter. He really does seem mentally ill. Gloria hugged her daughter, and they stood silently for a while, calming down after the stress they had experienced. You know, maybe we should postpone the wedding? Until this lunatic calms down or the police catch him? I'm afraid he might show up at the church and cause a scene. Zara shook her head firmly. No, Mom. I won't let him control my life. Tyrone and I have been planning this day for a whole year. We're not going to back down because of threats from a sick man. We just need to take extra precautions. At 8:30 in the morning, the car Tyrone had rented for the trip to the church pulled up outside the house. The white sedan was supposed to deliver the bride and groom to the ceremony in a festive atmosphere. The driver, an elderly man named Albert, had worked for the rental company for many years and was proud to drive newlyweds on their most important day. Good morning. Today is your special day. I hope everything is ready for the celebration. Zara and Gloria went out to the car to check that everything was in order. The car was spotlessly clean, decorated with white ribbons and artificial flowers. Albert, can you wait here for another half hour? I need to finish getting ready, said Zara. Of course, dear. We have plenty of time. I'll park over there under the tree and wait. The driver pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned off the engine. Zara went back into the house to take a shower and start getting ready for the most important day of her life. An hour later, when she was almost ready, Albert knocked on the door with a worried look on his face. Sorry to bother you, but we have a problem with the car. Someone punctured all 4 tires while I was at the store. I don't understand who could have done this or why. Zara and Gloria ran outside. The white sedan stood sadly on flat tires, leaning to different sides. Long nails lay next to each wheel. Damien, Zara whispered. He came back and did this while we were in the house. Albert spread his arms in confusion. I'm very sorry, but I can't give you a ride. I need to call a tow truck and change all the tires. It will take several hours. Maybe you have another car? Zara looked at her car, which had been damaged yesterday in a collision with Damien's pickup truck. The car was still drivable, but it didn't look like the best choice for a wedding trip. "Mom, what should we do? The ceremony starts at 2 o'clock and we don't have any transportation." Gloria looked thoughtfully at both cars. "Call Kira. Maybe she can give us a ride. Or call Tyrone. Let him find another car." Zara dialed her friend's number. Kira answered immediately, as if she had been waiting for the call. "Hi, how are you? Are you ready yet?" "Kira, we have a problem. Damien came by this morning. My mom kicked him out, but he came back and punctured the tires on the wedding car. We can't get to the church." "That lunatic has completely lost his mind. It's good that your mom gave him a beating. Don't worry, I'll come and pick you up. My car isn't as nice as the wedding car, but we'll get there." "Thank you. You're a true friend." After talking to Kira, Zara called the police. The officer on duty listened to her account of the incident, but his reaction was far from encouraging. "So, you're saying that your ex-boyfriend threatened you, tried to ram your car yesterday, came to your house this morning, and punctured the tires of your rental car?" "Yes, that's right. I have a witness. My mother saw him threatening me this morning, and the damage to the cars can be documented." "I understand your concern, ma'am, but we need more concrete evidence. Did you see him puncture the tires? Are there any surveillance cameras in the area?" "No, we were in the house, but there's no one else who could have done it. He threatened to ruin the wedding." The officer sighed with the look of someone who had heard similar stories hundreds of times. "We will record your statement and issue a warrant for Mr. Rowell's arrest for questioning. But please understand that until we find him and question him, we cannot press charges. I recommend that you be careful and call the police immediately if he shows up again." "How long will it take to find him?" "It's hard to say, ma'am. It could be a few hours, or it could be a few days. We'll do everything we can, but we can't guarantee a quick result." Zara hung up the phone with a feeling of disappointment and helplessness. The police had effectively thrown up their hands, leaving her family on their own to face a potentially dangerous man. Kira arrived 20 minutes later in her red compact car. The car was old but clean and reliable. Her friend got out with a bouquet of flowers in her hands and a determined look on her face. "Well, bride, are you ready for the most important day of your life? We won't let some psycho ruin our celebration." Zara hugged her friend, feeling the tension ease a little. "Thank you for coming. The police have issued a warrant for Damien's arrest, but they warned me that it may take some time to find him." "All the better. Maybe he finally realized he'd gone too far and hid somewhere. We'll have a wonderful wedding and forget about that jerk." Kira helped Zara load her wedding dress, bouquet, and other necessary items into the car. Gloria sat in the front seat, and the bride settled in the back, trying not to wrinkle her dress. "You know, maybe Kira is right," Gloria said as they drove to the church. "Maybe Damien finally realized what he was doing and decided not to show up at the wedding. After all, he got what he wanted. He ruined our morning and made us nervous." Zara nodded, but deep down she didn't believe it would end so easily. Damien's voice had been so full of hatred and determination when he threatened her on the phone that she couldn't believe he had suddenly seen the light. "I hope you're right, Mom. But let's be careful anyway. Let's ask the guests to keep an eye out and report immediately if they see Damien." Kira looked at her friend through the rearview mirror. "Zara, don't get yourself worked up. Today is your day. You're marrying a wonderful man who adores you. You'll have a wonderful family and a happy life, and we'll get through any psychos somehow." Her friend was right. Despite all the threats and troubles, it was her wedding day. The day she had dreamed of since childhood, the day she had planned for a whole year. No one had the right to ruin it. "You're right. Today I become Mrs. Bennet, and that's what matters most. Damien can threaten all he wants, but he can't take away our happiness." The car turned onto the road leading to the church. Ahead, a white building with a tall bell tower surrounded by old oak trees came into view. Here, in a few hours, a new chapter in Zara Kamani's life would begin. St. Luke's Church was small but cozy. The wooden pews, designed to seat 100 people, were half full of guests by the time the ceremony began. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, bathing the interior in soft golden tones. Standing at the altar was Pastor David Wilson, an elderly man with a kind face who had been performing weddings in this church for 30 years. Zara stood in the small bridal preparation room, watching the last guests arrive through the window. Her wedding dress fit her perfectly, her hair was styled elegantly, and her light makeup emphasized her natural beauty. Despite the morning's troubles, she felt happy and excited. "You look amazing," Kira said, adjusting her friend's veil. "Tyrone will be thrilled when he sees you walking down the aisle." Gloria stood nearby, clutching the bouquet for the bride's mother. The morning incident with Damien had left her wary, and she glanced periodically at the door. "I'm still worried about that lunatic. Maybe we should have asked for security." "Mom, everything will be fine. There are a lot of people here, the pastor, the guests. Damien wouldn't dare cause a scene in front of everyone, and the police are looking for him. He's unlikely to show up in a public place." At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, solemn music began to play. Kira walked down the aisle first as the maid of honor, followed by Gloria as the mother of the bride. Finally, it was Zara's turn. The church door opened, and the bride slowly walked down the center aisle to the sounds of the wedding march. The guests stood up, turning to admire her beauty. Tyrone stood at the altar in a black suit, his face beaming with happiness at the sight of his bride approaching. "Friends and family," Pastor Wilson began, as Zara took her place next to the groom. "We are gathered here today to witness the union of two loving hearts. Tyrone Bennett and Zara Kamani have decided to join their lives in marriage before the Lord and in the presence of their loved ones." Tyrone took Zara's hand in his, and she felt the tension of the last few days finally begin to recede. They looked into each other's eyes, and the whole world around them seemed to disappear. "Marriage is a sacred union based on love, trust, and mutual respect," the pastor continued. "Tyrone, are you willing to take Zara as your wife, to love her in joy and in sorrow, in wealth and in poverty, in sickness and in health, until death do you part?" "I am," Tyrone replied firmly, never taking his eyes off his bride. "Zara, are you willing to take Tyrone as your husband, to love him in joy and in sorrow, in wealth and in poverty, in sickness and in health, until death do you part?" Zara opened her mouth to say the cherished, "I do," but her words were drowned out by the loud crash of the front door bursting open. All heads turned toward the entrance. Damien Rowell stood in the doorway. He looked even worse than he had in the morning. His clothes were rumpled, his hair was tousled, and his eyes were red from a sleepless night. In his right hand, he held a gun pointed upward, and in his left hand, he held a large plastic canister. "Stop! Stop this farce immediately!" he shouted, entering the church with a determined stride. "This wedding will not take place." A frightened whisper rippled through the church. Several women gasped, and the men instinctively moved forward to shield their companions. Pastor Wilson turned pale but remained where he was. "Young man, please calm down and put away your weapon. This is the house of God. There is no place for violence here." Damien laughed, a hysterical, unnatural laugh. "House of God? Where was your God when that whore infected me with HIV? Where was he when my life turned into hell? No, today justice will prevail according to me." He raised his gun and fired at the ceiling. The deafening sound of the shot in the enclosed space stunned those present. Some of the guests screamed and panic ensued. People rushed to the side exits, pushing each other and knocking over chairs. "No one leaves," Damien barked, turning the barrel toward the crowd. "Everyone stays and watches. Everyone must see what happens to those who destroy other people's lives." Tyrone instinctively stood in front of Zara, trying to protect her. "Damien, leave her alone. If you have a problem, let's settle it like men. Zara has nothing to do with this." "Nothing to do with it?" Damien approached the altar, the canister in his left hand swaying menacingly. "She infected me with a deadly disease. Because of her, I'll never have a family, children, or a normal life. And now she's going to infect you too, you fool." Zara tried to say something in a trembling voice. "Damien, I swear to you, I'm not to blame. I don't have HIV. I never cheated on you. If you're sick, you didn't get it from me." Lies. All lies. Damien was already 3 meters away from them. The doctors told me the truth. You were the only one I slept with during that time, so you infected me. Kira tried to approach her friend from the side, but Damien noticed her movement and turned the barrel in her direction. Stay where you are. And you, girlfriend, knew what a slut she was. You all knew and kept quiet. Pastor Wilson took a step forward, trying to reason with the armed man. My son, I understand that you are suffering, but revenge will not bring you relief. The Lord teaches us forgiveness. Put down your weapon, and we will help you find the right path. Forgiveness? Damien turned to the pastor, his eyes wild with madness. It's easy to talk about forgiveness when you don't have to live with the fact that your life is over at 35. When you wake up every morning and remember that you're doomed. He looked at Zara again, his face contorted with hatred. But if my life is over, then yours will be too. Right here, right now. Let everyone see what happens to those who destroy other people's destinies. Damien opened the lid of the canister. The sharp, acrid smell of acid hit their nostrils. Several people in the front rows coughed and recoiled. It's sulfuric acid, he explained calmly, as if teaching a chemistry lesson. Concentrated. I bought it at the warehouse where I work. I said I needed it to clean metal. Do you know what it does to human skin? Zara backed away, but the altar barrier prevented her from retreating any further. Tyrone spread his arms, trying to shield his bride with his body. Damien, please! If you want revenge, take it out on me. I stole your girlfriend. It's my fault you broke up. Noble, Damien smirked. But you don't understand. It's not about the breakup. It's what she did to me before you even met her. She carried death within her and passed it on to me. And now she'll pass it on to you. He abruptly lifted the canister and splashed its contents toward the altar. Zara screamed, and Tyrone tried to push her aside, but it was too late. The acid splashed onto the wedding dress, the bride's hands and face. The fabric began to smoke and dissolve, exposing skin that was instantly covered with terrible burns. Zara fell to her knees, writhing in unbearable pain, her screams echoing off the church vaults. Zara! Tyrone rushed to her, trying to help, but Damien was ready for that too. The shot rang out almost simultaneously with the dying bride's screams. The bullet hit Tyrone in the chest, and he swayed and collapsed next to Zara, his white shirt quickly turning red. That's it, Damien said, looking at the result of his work. Now justice has prevailed. She won't infect anyone else, and he won't have to live with what I've been through. Kira rushed to her friend, but realized that it was too late to help. The acid continued to eat away at her skin and tissue, and Zara gasped for breath with her burned lungs. A few minutes later, her suffering ended. Tyrone was still alive, but blood flooded the floor around him. He tried to say something, reaching out to his dead bride, but his strength was leaving him. The church was filled with the sound of sirens. One of the guests had managed to call the police and an ambulance. Damien heard the approaching sounds and realized that time was running out. Goodbye, Zara, he said, looking at the body of his ex-girlfriend. Now we're even. He ran out of the church through a side exit, jumped into his pickup truck, and sped off down the country roads with the engine roaring. The police cars were just pulling up to the main entrance when he was already hiding in the woods. Only the dead and the broken souls of the living remained in the church. Kira wept over the body of her best friend. Gloria sat in a daze, unable to believe what had happened. Pastor Wilson prayed, repeating the same words over and over, as if they could turn back time. The wedding day turned into a nightmare that would remain in the memories of the survivors forever. Love was trampled by hatred. Hopes were destroyed by the revenge of a madman. Damien Rowell disappeared, leaving only death and grief behind. But the justice he had talked so much about never prevailed.